Having a breakdown, another breakdown. I'm Jeff Messer. With us is the High Ho Gamer Cat and our buddy Captain Jack over there. Not drinking Captain Jack though, right?
No.
Just hanging out in his own little nerd den there. And we're back after last week's very special episode. It's like the after school specials, and this week a very special episode. We snuck out our unaired pilot of the Issues With show with Afua Richardson. Pretty cool stuff. I hope everybody enjoyed it and continue to share it. It lives on the internet now, and I don't know. How did you like it, Kat? Have you seen it yet?
I loved it. I've actually watched it about 3 to 4 times.
She's a badass. She's
it
awesome.
is. I love it, and there's just so much information and positivity. She seems like she brings such a light with her. I don't know if you're like into that kind of stuff, but like she's airy and approachable, I guess is the word too.
Oh, totally. She is such a nerd too. She dresses for every con that she goes to. Multiple costume changes over the days that she's there. Yeah. Just a truly great person. You know, I ran into her at Dragon Con in Atlanta, and right away she remembered me, and she was like, "Hey, let me know when it's out." And I told her what we were doing, and just such a warm and wonderful person. So I'm glad that we got to put that one out there, because there was some fear that we had recorded this great interview with her, that we had nothing that we could do with it, because we're tied to Heroes Con now for season 1, and that one wasn't shot at Heroes Con, but we found a way to do it, and it worked out, and hopefully people will continue to discover it on the interwebs as time goes by. Yeah. So, and share it with people out there, and everybody that gets a chance to see it. Yeah, it's super awesome. What an amazing life and amazing story. Afua Richardson, just can't say enough good things about her. And, who knows? We could get her on the regular season 2 if she's at Heroes Con next summer. You never know. You never know. But this was a special interview. The things that she talked about, beatboxing and singing.
I know that one threw me for a loop. I was so not expecting that at all, and then she busted. I was like, "Shut up!" That's so cool.
Yeah, well, me too. I was sitting there like, what? Like, I don't know. So that's pretty awesome. Anyway, that's great. That episode's out there. That's on our website. It's on the Facebook page. We're going to make sure that it's everywhere as we keep rolling towards season 1, which has 12 great interviews with 14 different people, amazingly enough. 14 people in 12 episodes. Do the math. But anyway, so that's that. And we are going to get caught up on a little bit of the news today. I guess the biggest, craziest news that we're hearing since we last spoke is Marvel maestro Kevin Feige, who was responsible for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. First thing that shocked everybody was, hey, he's going to work on Star Wars. And there were people that thought he's taking over Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy might be leaving. And no, it seems like he's just going to produce a movie or some movies in the Star Wars universe. And as if that wasn't enough.
I know.
A couple of days ago, the ink dried on the paperwork. He is the chief creative director for Marvel Comics, not the movies, but the source material. Now, kids, there are these things. They come. You get them in a store, and they come with pages, and you get to read them, and they're called comic books. And it is the source material for all those Marvel movies that you've seen and you've heard about. They didn't just come from somebody's fertile imagination as movies. So Kevin Feige is going to take over Marvel Comics creatively in the publishing end, which I don't know, Kat. I'm sitting here going, the Marvel movies is one thing, doing Star Wars is another.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be in charge of the creative content at the publishing company. What do you think? Do you think that this means that the movies and the comic book characters, because they're going to do a relaunch, relaunch stuff again, which I'm so fed up with.
I am too, actually. It's like a whole new batch. I don't know what to think. I'm kind of worried. I'm always worried. Change is never good for me. Right. Change is never a good thing for me. I always revert to being worried. So I'm kind of interested in seeing, like, is he gonna mesh his ideas from the MCU into the comics themselves, or is he just gonna be like, your story works, run with it, we can, is he gonna, how much creative freedom are the comic book artists and writers gonna have, or is he gonna hold on to the reins really tight and be like, no, this is what I want, type of thing? So
well, it's problematic because when the Marvel movies became really, really big, the Marvel comics had recently done a big relaunch, 2011, 2012. By that point, there had been several Marvel movies. It was like, oh my God, this movie thing is really going to work out for us.
Mm-hmm.
But the comic side, they weren't really playing ball with the movie side, because at that point in time, we started getting things like Thor was a female, and all these things that were going on that they changed in the company, so that if people saw the movies and they had never read a comic book, but they went and saw the movies and they were like, holy crap, I'm going to go to a comic store the next day and I'm going to get the next issue of Thor. And they go and they pick it up, and it has nothing to do with the movies.
Exactly.
Are you turning off potentially new fans? And that's been the big struggle, is alienating the old school fans who have been around for years and years versus attracting new fans. And so I'm wondering if this is not a complete alignment, so that the movies and the comics are existing in the same universe.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering too, because when it comes to the movies, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you're trying to stay authentic to these characters and their storylines, and things have to change. So diehard comic book lovers are like, well, that's not a real thing, and that's not really how it went down and stuff like that. But then you have all these new people that go to the movies, don't know anything about these characters, and like you said, will go to the comic book and be like, wait a second, this is not, they're not aligning. So I kind of wonder if he's going to keep it that way, like their own separate worlds, or is he going to try to merge this? And if he does try to merge it, how much resistance is he going to have from the writers and the artists that are like, well, this isn't true to the character? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. And at this point, I'm undecided, because I did like the movies. And I know when Iron Man came out in 2008, I went to the stores and I was like, you know what? I've not read Iron Man in a number of years, and I never really collected it on the regular, but I was like, damn, I really like this movie. I like this character. And I picked up the next iteration of Iron Man that came out right around that time, and it just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like the movie character. I was like, man, this needs to be more like the movies. And so I was one of those people when it came to that. But the movies are essentially adapting stories like, Thanos and all of the Infinity Gauntlet stuff. That's from 30 years ago. So these are stories that existed already. So, yeah, I don't know.
And I kind of had almost a similar thing with the Wolverine movie. So before I saw the movie, like, I know a decent amount about Wolverine, but I knew that this storyline I had not read. So I was like, they have the hardcover. Let me go get it. I read it, went to the movies. Within 5 minutes, I was being told to be quiet because I'm yelling at the screen like, that's not the real thing. Like, they didn't keep it close to the same thing. So
Hugh Jackman is like 6 foot. Yeah, Hugh Jackman is like 6'2", and Wolverine, the character, is 5'2". So,
exactly. And then Sabretooth and Wolverine are brothers since they were little kids. And I'm like, that's not even in the comic. It was just a mess for me. So I know a lot of people are ending up doing the same thing. So
in the end, it could be a good thing if they align the movies and the comics for Marvel anyway. If they're doing a relaunch and it feels like the movie universe, I think it's easier for new fans to jump on board, because they're selling how many millions of tickets to these movies, and they're not selling. They're selling on a good week, they're selling 50, or a good month, they're selling 50, maybe 60,000 copies of a really hot book. An incredibly hot book will push around 100,000 copies, and they're selling millions of movie tickets. So where are all these movie ticket buyers and why are they not buying the comics?
Exactly.
So it's a conundrum from a business standpoint.
And it makes complete sense, because what it is these families are going together to these movies, but nobody's picking up the comic to read as a family. Like right. In my house, if there's a comic like House of X and Power of X, there's actually 3 copies in the house. right. So we've got the whole run, 3 copies. So that makes sense. But in other people, they're just like, no, we just want to see the superheroes. We don't want to read about them. And that kind of sucks, because you're missing out a lot on the details. You're missing out a lot on the history of the characters themselves. And you lose that in the movies.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Kevin Feige, obviously, and Star Wars comics are at Marvel. Marvel's publishing the Star Wars comics, so it's, he's deep into it. I mean, Kevin Feige could be one of the most powerful guys in the movie industry and in publishing, coming up very, very soon. So let's see what happens. And
fingers crossed.
Yeah. So good luck, Kevin Feige. Good luck.
For sure.
I will. I'll be there picking up the stuff when it first starts coming out. We'll see what happens. And of course, Feige goes to Star Wars, and J.J. Abrams goes to Warner's, and rumor has it is revamping Superman, maybe Justice League, and all of those characters, but nothing concrete yet. Of course, J.J. has this little movie coming out in 2 months that maybe they want to talk about instead of talking 2.5 years from now. Yeah, there's a little thing. I don't know
if anybody's heard of it.
yeah. But no, it's weird too, because J.J. Abrams, and I'll display this. Issue 2 just came out of Spider-Man.
I know, I got mine too.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams is writing Spider-Man with his son over at Marvel, which is, that's polluting the streams a little bit, I think.
I just pointed at my living room, like you can see it. I'm like, mine is over there. I picked mine up this morning. I was there at 8:00 in the morning.
Oh wow, that's early. They don't open that early, do they?
The comic book that I'm cheating does.
I gotcha. So JJ's doing Spider-Man, but he's going to do DC movies. Weird. Speaking of Star Wars, this just came out last week, issue 1, and it's issue 2 should be out this week. Journey to the Rise of Skywalker. It's a weekly series coming out in the Star Wars universe over at Marvel. Worth checking out. I read the first issue. It's pretty good. Some good stuff, and it's great. They're going to have 4 covers that all connect to make one giant poster. So
that's cool.
It's pretty badass. So issue 1. What's that?
The story's good.
It is. Yeah, issue 1 was really good. Issue 2 should be out. When I went to the shop that I go to, they didn't have it on their shelf, so I don't know if they just got shorted on their order or what happened. But something happened, and so they didn't have it. But anyway, we might as well talk some comics too. I got some other goodies here. I was holding this up a few minutes ago. I got this last week. Ghost Rider #1. I know Jack is sitting over there going, "What the what?" Yeah, Ghost Rider #1 just came out, and I picked it up almost exclusively for the artist. Aaron Cutter is the artist on this book, and man, he really is becoming one of my favorite artists right now. Let me flip it open to just a random page and kind of show it off a little bit. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Maguire, who did some comics back in the 80s, and he was a really unique voice as an artist. And for years, people tried to imitate him, like facial expressions, and he was just really good at bringing out the acting in these characters. And people kept trying to crack the code and imitate him. Adam Hughes was one of the sort of post-Kevin Maguire acolytes that came along, but I've never seen anybody quite tap into that Kevin Maguire goodness until I saw Aaron Cutter a couple of years ago. And this is, let me check this out. This is the kind of stuff that's just like badass beyond words that used to be only Kevin Maguire could pull off this kind of stuff. And now this guy, I'm a big fan of his, and whether or not I like the character of the book, I'm going to buy it if he's drawing it, just because he is such an interesting
He's that good, huh?
He really is that good. I met him at a Raleigh SuperCon a year and a half ago, and super nice guy. Chatted him up. He did a Guardians of the Galaxy series 3 or 4 years ago. So he's still relatively new in the business, but good guy, Aaron Cutter. So if you see him out there, check his stuff out. Also, we haven't talked since about comics in several weeks. Legion of Superheroes Millennium #2 came out. And you see the Legion of Superheroes all in the background there. Characters for days, on and on and on. And it's pretty good. It's a good series. And issue #1 of the regular Legion book comes out in a couple weeks. So if you're interested in jumping onto that, then certainly go for it. Also got this one last week. Also really good. It's a 12-issue series. Warren Ellis is writing it. Brian Hitch is drawing it. It's called The Batman's Grave. If you're a Batman fan, Warren Ellis writing Batman is pretty badass. So check it out if you get a chance. The Batman's Grave. Yes, indeed. So issue #1 is very good. Check that out. And I got a couple of oddballs here. This just came out today, and it's a weird format. It's like smaller than your average book. It's almost like bigger than a digest, but smaller. And it looks like it's geared for kids mostly.
The Superman.
Superman Smashes the Klan, which is apparently based on an old Superman radio show from back in the day. But Superman taking on the KKK.
No, that's crazy.
Kicking their butts and all, and chewing bubblegum and taking names. So anyway, I have not read it yet, but it looks really cool. And anything that's like social justice warrior, which Superman is a social justice warrior. This is putting a capital S in that title. And
the story kind of, from what I understood, was that he understands the life of like the immigrants and stuff like that, because he's an alien himself. So he's fighting for those people, and I kind of like laugh at the timing of it all.
It's a little bit perfect, I think. Yeah.
Nail on it.
I know. And I'm a little behind on the viewing, but finishing up last season of the CW show Supergirl. Which is all about, the whole last season was all about this conservative politician type guy who becomes Agent Liberty and is trying to kick all of the aliens off of the planet, and it's very illegal alien kind of oriented. And it's, my stepdaughter, who's 12, was watching an episode, and he's talking all this hate about aliens and they're taking over, and all this stuff that sounds very familiar if you're paying attention to the news. And so my stepdaughter is like, she's watching an episode and she goes, "He needs to die." About the guy, the bad guy. And I was like, I'm not going to argue with you too much on that. And I almost said, it's like, hey, be careful how you vote. Yeah. So, and my final goodies for the week, the third and final issue of the Frank Miller, John Romita Jr. Superman Black Label. It's the big magazine size Black Label book. The Superman. Read the first one. I haven't read the second and third one yet, but I'm looking forward to diving into this. Frank Miller writing Superman. So yeah. So that's it. What else? What did you get, Kat? What else have you got?
So I picked up Something's Killing the Children, issue #2. I picked up the Spider. That story is very different and unique. I kind of I'm waiting for the twist of it all. I feel like there's gonna be a huge reveal, and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I should have seen that coming. And I picked up the second Spider-Man, like you did. What else did I get? What else did I get? I got 3 things. The X-Men #1, after all the Power of X and House of X stuff. So I picked up X-Men #1. But my husband picked up, that's there it is right there.
It looks pretty cool. Something's Killing the Children.
Yes, it's so it was kind of like a sleeper hit. Like nobody really saw it coming, and a couple of people were like, "Oh, this is new. Let me pick it up. Let me see what it is." And it just spread like wildfire. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, you have to pick this up!" And it's becoming this big thing. Like we've got to see what this is all about. So I was like, of course, I'm nosy. I want to see what everybody's raving about.
Sure, yeah.
So I picked it up. But my husband picked up the Joker and Harlequin.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's one of the big issues.
It's the same size, it's the same format as this. It's the
it is.
Black Label.
And he picked it up, and I wasn't feeling all that good last night, so I went to bed early, and he read it, and he was just like, I need the second issue, like, now.
Oh, wow.
He says it's really good, so I'm gonna head over and read that too, because he was just like, it is so good. He didn't tell me any spoilers. He was just like, I want the second issue. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna check that out and let you guys know if he's correct, if it's good, or should I be questioning his taste?
Right. Yeah. You never know.
Right. So I haven't picked up a lot of stuff. It's been kind of a slow thing because my real comic book shop is 4 hours away. So I've been traveling. I know. So I've been traveling to Raleigh, an hour away, and I've been cheating on my comic book store, just getting a couple of things just so I can stay afloat with you guys and not seem like a total loser and be behind. So
I've got a pull list at one store, and I drop in on a couple of the other stores in town, and I will pick stuff up when I go into their shops, just randomly kind of grab stuff that maybe is not on my pull list. I'm like, oh, I forgot about this coming out. The Batman's Grave was one of those. So I try to be a patron of multiple stores when I get a chance, but it's tough. And
it is. Well, I mean, it's a loyalty thing too. Like I've been with this store for 10 years. 12 years actually. So, but they're so far away.
But no matter where you are, support your local comic shop.
Yes, this is very true. And that's why I kind of feel guilty, but not 100% when I go an hour away and buy a couple of stuff here and there. Yeah. I tend to buy figures from them a little more than my pull list. So I help out.
There you go. Every little bit counts. A couple other quick items. We're going to keep this one short. We were a little bit late getting going today, but I'm going to keep it short. The Spider-Man, of course, back with the Marvel family, but also apparently, the Disney and Sony kissing and making up. But Venom and Spider-Man are going to wind up appearing together at some point. We're starting to hear out there, which may be part of that deal. We don't know what the exacts of the deal is, but I think it's a benefit if Spider-Man can jump over and do a movie with Sony that's a Venom movie, maybe.
That would be so cool. And they need to do it right.
Bring Venom to the next Spider-Man movie. I mean,
don't be tacky about it.
Superheroes without borders. I think the companies are just kind of, starting to learn their lesson. It's like, no, don't piss off the fans. Exactly. The fans are going to be out there throwing tons of money at you.
They are.
And if you disappoint them, they will boycott you. I mean, they got pissed off at The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson, and they made the movie Solo pay the price for it at the box office, even though it was a great movie, a better movie than Last Jedi.
You're 100% correct.
So don't piss them off. Don't piss off the nerds.
No, because if they love you, they will see it multiple times. If they hate you, goodbye to your career.
And the corporations are just now kind of getting on board with that, which may be why Kevin Feige is wearing multiple hats now. It's like we got to get some synergy going between all of the companies. And for what it's worth, DC and Warner's has been doing that for a number of years. Jeff Johns from DC has had a hand in most of the DC movie scripts. He's kind of the creative guy at DC right now. He's writing the Doomsday Clock, which is a great Watchmen sequel that's out there. But he's kind of been doing that at DC for a while, but they haven't been able to get off the launch pad the way Marvel has. So I definitely think that the Kevin Feige thing is a power play that DC is going to have a hard time matching. They don't have anybody over there in that sort of DC stable unless it becomes J.J. Abrams and his Bad Robot Company.
Yeah.
That's maybe, but they're not going to let him be in charge of the comics, and he's not interested in publishing because he's a filmmaker. Feige is a producer. He's not a director. He's not a writer, but he knows how to produce. So different skill sets at play here.
I know, and I'm interested to see what the next year brings. I'm very, like I said, I'm a worrywart, so I'm waiting for shit to go wrong, but I'm still interested in seeing how it's all going to play out.
Yeah, and I'm the same way, but I try. I'm not so much the worrywart. I just go in and I'm like, you know what? Just entertain me. I don't care. Show me something good. I'm not going to critique it. I'm not going to give it the, well, that's not the way it was in the comics treatment. I'm just like,
I stopped doing that. Like I was doing that for the longest time.
Yeah, you'll always be frustrated.
I was doing that for the longest time. I'm like, why are you doing? And then it just, I don't know. I had an epiphany. I was like, it's two separate things. Separate it. You will never be happy if you keep doing this. And I started enjoying the movies more once I separated the two. I'm like, okay, comics is going to be comics. The movies are going to try and just enjoy it for what it is. So
yeah. And keep your expectations low. I think people set their sights a little too high, and it becomes frustrating. We just had a flash image of the Rise of Skywalker movie that's coming out. We're expecting a brand new trailer, like a full-on trailer, to hit any day now.
I'm excited.
There have been some TV spots that have been reconstituted versions of the footage that came out of D23. So we haven't seen anything brand new since then, but the rumor has it the big trailer is coming soon. The toys are out. Some of the toys are out. You can find them in stores. Maybe there's some controversy out there that distribution for the Star Wars toys is kind of weird and low, and the 3 3/4 inch figures have been pushed to the back of priority by Hasbro and by the people behind the toys. So I happened to be in one of those big box stores earlier today, just kind of tooling around looking, and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to cruise by the toys to see what the new Star Wars stuff looks like, so I could talk about it on the show. It's like, hey, any spoilers that I see on the action figures that come out, because sometimes you can get insight into the movies by checking out the action figures or the Lego set or things like that.
That's so true.
They'll totally tip their hand by showing you something in a Lego set that you're like, oh, wait a minute, I think this is a key plot in the movie. Well, I was in one of those big box stores, not going to say which one. They didn't have anything. They had a couple of Lego sets, and that was it. And I'm like, there's a Star Wars movie coming out in 2 months, and they don't have any toys. What's wrong with these people? So
you think they're doing that because they've messed up in the past and they're like, we're gonna try to control it? Because I think there was a Lego set that kind of spoiled something. Oh no, it was pop figures that kind of spoiled Endgame.
Yes. Yeah.
Characters in certain suits. So I wonder if they're taking that approach, like, let's wait till the last possible minute because these toys could reveal spoilers.
Yeah, it could be. And, Star Wars infamously, they released the Phantom Menace soundtrack 2 months earlier than the movie. And on the back of the soundtrack, it had the song titles. And in the song titles, it was like the funeral of Qui-Gon Jinn.
I remember that.
Titles. And so people were like, I guess he dies. I guess he dies in the movie.
I remember that. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But speaking of, there's a Reddit discussion going on. Someone claims that they have seen the track list for the Rise of Skywalker soundtrack. And one of these song titles is a major spoiler potentially. And here it goes. And then we'll talk about this for a sec.
Oh my God.
Okay, are you ready? Ready for this?
I'm holding on. Go.
One of the tracks is titled "The Last Flight of the Falcon."
Oh my God!
Are they going to destroy it? Is it going to? And who flies it? Is Lando or Chewie, or is someone going to sacrifice themselves by flying it into?
Oh my God!
Yeah. So they may destroy the Millennium Falcon in this.
Oh my God! I will not even lie to you, Jeff. I will cry. I will cry.
Yeah, that's majorly upsetting to think about. Yeah.
I mean, heck, I cried when they revealed it and it was all dusty and all that. I was like, oh my goodness.
It's like a character in the movie. It's like a character in the movie. So
exactly. Oh, I will cry. Oh my God.
So if it's true, and this is not just some sort of rumor or BS on Reddit, who do you think's flying the Millennium Falcon to its fiery fate?
I'm gonna go with Rey. I think she's the one.
You think she's gonna sacrifice herself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think. Well, I don't think it's so much a sacrifice. If this is what is happening, I think it's gonna be some type of she's gonna have to eject and it crashes type of thing.
See, a lot of people out there are going with either that's how Lando is going to go out. He's going to get his ship back at the very end, and he's going to sacrifice himself and the ship, saving the galaxy, which is very poetic.
Yeah.
Or Chewbacca joins Han Solo in the Ever After.
Not Chewie. This is too much for me to right now, Jeff.
Yeah. Those are the two candidates that I'm hearing come up the most. A few people have said Rey, but not a lot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's we got a couple of months.
If I lose Chewie and the Falcon at the same time, I will be a ball of mess, and you guys are gonna have to console me because I will not be able to handle this. This will be a serious death for me.
All right. Well, we got listener Kevin who's tuned in. Hey, Kevin, good to see you over there. Kevin. Saying in the chat, Kevin says it'll be Lando flying it. I'm kind of leaning that way myself. I think Lando is the best candidate because they're bringing him back to close out his story, and thanks to the Solo movie and him losing the ship, this becomes a poetic ending. That's my feeling too. So I'm right with Kevin.
Ship anymore. I know I'm a horrible human being, but
this is the end. It's the end of the Skywalker saga, so they say. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when Kevin Feige and the Game of Thrones guys, they've all got movies they're working on in the Star Wars universe. And then we got the Mandalorian and all the TV stuff. So honestly, the Falcon can come back if they bring back, and there's been some talk, Aaron Eckenreich and some of those guys saying, hey, if the Mandalorian series works out, and if they wanted to go back and explore the things that were set up in the Solo movie, that they would all be interested in coming back and doing a streaming series over on Disney. And of course, we got one from Rogue One spinoff streaming series that's coming with Cassian Andor. It's not out of the realm of possibility, which means we'll get Han, Chewie, Lando, and the Falcon all back.
No, but it's not the same.
It's over. So anyway, on that tragic note, we'll start winding it down. I wanted to give everybody an update. As you guys know, the comic book Kickstarter that I'm running right now ends on October 20th. So we're down to 3 days, start tomorrow, 4 days from today. And we're essentially funded. We're a couple $100 short of the goal, but it's Kickstarter. So the last 48 hours tends to be a big like people start pledging at the end. I've got 36 people who are watching the project that haven't pledged yet. And it's like those people jump on late. I do the same thing with some projects too, where I'll come in like the last couple of days and go, oh, hey, it looks like it's going to make it, or it looks like it's about to make it. Let me jump in and help.
Yeah.
So my Kickstarter is just a couple $100 shy of being where it needs to be by Sunday night. I think it'll get there. And as a result, there it is, The Adventures of Young Robin Hood. Great project. I'm really proud of it. And we are going to be sending, at this point, it looks like about 250 copies of probably a 500 print run will go to children's hospitals. And
that's exciting.
So we're donating a lot of it to great causes, and everybody pledges. Your pledge is matched by us with a free copy that goes to both of those charities. So if you pledge $10, you get a book, and then 2 more books go out, one each to those charities. So basically, we're making no money. We're giving it all away. But the goal all along was to get it printed, get it published, get it out there, and to start
kids reading
with it. So we're super close, and we just need a little bit of a push. So I'm throwing this out there as a contest to any of the fans and followers and listeners out there that if you go in and you pledge, $10 or more. That's all you have to do is pledge $10. That gets you a book, plus local schools will get a book, and the children's hospitals will get a book, and you'll get a thank you in the back of the comic as well. But also, if you send me a message when you pledge $10 or more, if you send a message saying, I'm a fan of Issues With, or I'm a fan of the breakdown, just, let me know that you're picking it up from this show. And there will be a major prize giveaway to each Issues With.
I'm sending you the message right now.
That's right. That's right. And it's going to be, I'm not going to say what it is, but when you get it, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is badass.
I'm totally sending you the message right now. I mean, I pledged already, but I'm adding on the message that I heard it on
Issues With. That's right. So that's it. So that's the prize giveaway, but you've got to pledge. You got to pledge $10 or more on the Kickstarter. And trust me, the thing that you're getting is at least valued at $40 or $50.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited because I've seen everything that you've posted on it. The artwork is amazing. I know you're a talented writer, so I trust you. And it's for a good cause.
It's for great causes. Yeah,
kids will read it because it's for them. It's not, Yeah, I'm gonna read it.
It works for adults too. It's kind of an all ages thing.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna read it too, but it helps kids get interested in reading. And I mean, what better way than the Robin Hood storyline? So, guys, pledge it. I backed it up. I think it's super cool. So if I did it, you should do it too.
Absolutely, you're helping a good cause, and you're going to get a prize for doing it. So there you go. And this prize giveaway is good for as many of you that watch this that pledge. I've got enough of these bonus prizes to cover at least 10 or 15 people. So if 10 or 15 people pledge, I will happily be sending you all a pretty badass prize.
Yes.
So, yeah. Just be sure and talk about Issues With or the breakdown, and then you'll get it. So we'll find out on Sunday how it all turns out. But I can go ahead and tell you we got this. We got this. But we do still need some people to jump in, and we need some help to kind of push it over the top. And you guys can help us do it. So we appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure it's also linked in my, I have a link. I shared it on my page too. Nice. So it's everywhere, people. If you know us, you'll see the link. So get to it.
Right. It's on the Issues With page. It's everywhere. And this is something, and we'll talk more about it as time goes on, but this is something that Issues With and what we're doing with this show and the breakdown and everything surrounding the Issues With universe. We're going to be getting into doing stuff like this in the near future. We're not just going to be interviewing people. We're going to have stuff. We're going to be publishing, and we're going to be doing some projects. And when we can find causes that we can support and help, or people, artists who we can support and help with their special projects, that's what we're about here. And that's it's making this so much more than just us sitting around chatting about nerdy stuff and going to cons and interviewing people. So there's a lot of stuff.
I wanted to add on, if you don't mind,
Sure, go for it.
Some of the DC movie information that has come out. So
that's right. There's some late breaking news. This just happened before we went on air.
Exactly. Yes. So before we went on air, it was announced that Jonah Hill will no longer be in talks to play the villain for the upcoming Batman movie starring what's his name from Twilight. Like I'm still not convinced about him. Still not convinced about him. But on the bright side, hopefully the bright side, they did announce Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman for this. And
you gotta go my way. Lenny Kravitz. The way she looks like her dad.
Yeah,
look at that.
She kind of has both features because her mom is Lisa Bonet from
my God. She is a perfect blend. Yes.
Yeah. So if you see her with Lenny, you're like, oh, she looks like Lenny. But if you see her with Lisa, you're like, she looks like Lisa. So
and I love Lenny Kravitz. Yeah, he is awesome.
Me too. Yeah. So, and then her stepdad is Jason Momoa. So,
which is crazy too, right?
That's like the all around it. So for me, this was
too many pretty people in that family.
I know, and I'm jealous because they could have sent some of that pretty this way. But for me, this is kind of, I don't know, because I've only seen her in one show, which is Big Little Lies, and she does pretty well on the show. It's a serious show. Her characters doesn't have any real comedy inklings in her character. So she plays a very serious character. In the second season, her character kind of has a switch go off, and she becomes more calculated, more cautionary, more distance. So it's kind of from her character before was very bubbly, in season 1 was very bubbly, very all about life and peace and serenity. And in the second season, she's very, distant and quiet, and she contemplates killing someone in the series. So I kind of wonder how she's gonna play Catwoman, because Catwoman, I mean, yeah, she was in the Fantastic Beasts and she was in X-Men First Class, but it wasn't enough dialogue or enough airtime for me to be like, she can handle any role.
Right.
And I know that's kind of crappy to say, but it's the truth. When you're only fed a couple lines here and there and you're not on screen as much, it's kind of hard to tell what. And I'm not saying she's a terrible actress. I'm not saying she's a great actress. I'm just saying that for me, it's kind of hard to, there she is with her
my God.
I know, it makes me sick. I'm like, God, you guys could have sent some of it my way, sent some of that pretty over here.
Well, there's a thing about this too. There's a lot of money riding on a movie like this. There's a lot that goes into it. I'm sure she had to audition. I'm sure Robert Pattinson had to audition. They're not going to casually cast anyone in these movies. And for whatever reason, Jonah Hill backed out of his negotiations, or maybe he doesn't like Zoe Kravitz. Who knows? We can start that rumor here. That's why he bailed. But the thing is, it goes back to when Michael Keaton got cast as Batman 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Before there was the internet was outraged, and that worked out just fine, because these people are actors, and even though, and I don't blame any of them. I don't blame Robert Pattinson for saying yes to that ridiculous vampire soap opera nonsense, because it made him a name and it made him successful, and now he's had a number of years to try and get away from that. I saw him in the movie with Charlie Hunnam, the Lost City of Z, independent film a couple of years ago. And it's like, why would he do that? Oh no, he's trying to show people that he can actually act and that he can do more diverse things. So, with Michael Keaton and with anybody, if you get stereotyped in a certain role, you're going to spend a few years trying to disprove that. And this is a good opportunity for both of them to kind of dispel the
I'm still going to see it, but I don't know. Like, as I look at him, I can see where they might see him as a Bruce Wayne type of character. Like, you can pull off Bruce Wayne, but not necessarily pull off Batman.
Right.
And vice versa too. Like, you could be a great Batman, but your Bruce Wayne sucks. And it's because these characters are so established. Bruce Wayne is somewhat arrogant, somewhat cocky, a playboy. He knows he comes from money. He tries to help people. But Batman is very dark, very mysterious, very, he doesn't use real doors unless he's busting down through them. He's usually coming in through a window, type of mysterious type of thing, like I don't want to end up with this have you seen the College Humor Batman? Like, that's what I'm like, oh, let's not.
Well, and I've done some stage acting in my day, And as a performer, that's one of those things where I've done comedy, I've done drama, I've done Shakespeare, that you have to be kind of well versed enough to do it all, even to get one job. And so my assumption is that Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson, it's like they've got the skills, they've got the bag of tricks. Not everybody is a one-trick pony like I don't know, Keanu Reeves, who somehow keeps stumbling into success, but has the range of a Daisy air rifle. You know,
stop it.
But see, and there you go.
That's just me because I'm in love with him, so he could do.
But I mean, you know, if people were judging him with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and they just announced John Wick, everybody would be like, "Fuck no, that guy's not gonna. He's gonna suck at that. He's gonna be terrible at that. He's freaking, you know, Bill or Ted or whichever one he is." And the thing is, you know,
I read that as "I love you, Cat," not "I love you all." That's how he loves.
But he did suck in the movie Dracula, pun intended. Even though that was a gorgeously shot movie, he was atrocious in that movie, and he's been atrocious in a lot of movies, but. You know, and so you know, it is what it is. I mean, Michael Keaton had the Mr. Mom thing, and then after that, like, oh no, he's a serious actor because he disproved them.
I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm going in like, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm a in case you haven't noticed yet, Jeff. I'm a judgy kind of person.
I know.
Just who I am. And Neil Patrick Harris was announced for The Matrix 4. What is he gonna play? What is he gonna do? Nobody.
I put the Matrix movies in with the Avatar movies as the nobody asked for this. Why are you giving this? And I think the box office will reflect that on both of those films. Nobody's begging for another Avatar movie. Nobody's begging for another Matrix movie.
No, I was kind of surprised that everybody was like losing their shit over this. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, Neil Patrick Harris is in The Matrix," and they're like loving it. And I'm like, I don't even know where you're going with this because everybody that's dead is in this movie too. Like, I don't understand what. And the only person that hasn't
literally he's in the Matrix. Maybe they don't. There's not the movie. He's like in a Matrix somewhere, and you know,
it's weird. Like the only person that hasn't been announced, I think, is Lawrence Fishburne, but everybody else is coming back, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's 2 people that are dead. How are they coming back? I'm confused.
Lawrence Fishburne is like John Malkovich and Samuel L. Jackson and even Bruce Willis at this point. If they'll write him a check, he'll go do it. It's like, let's go do it. So he does. I don't think he's going to be that. The integrity of my role is not. No, sign the fucking check. Let's go. I mean, you know, why not, right? If they're throwing a ton of money at you, why wouldn't you do it that way? So,
and that's my 2 cents for that. So
that's good. So you heard it here, folks. Kat is saying that Jonah Hill hates Zoe Kravitz, and therefore he quit the movie.
Get her, I'm not doing it. She's too pretty, and I'm not doing it.
That's right. Or maybe they had a relationship or something once upon a time. Maybe there's some secret love tape or something out there floating around between them. We'll start all kinds of rumors here on the breakdown. Anyway, I mean, it could be. He might be like, I hate that bitch. You know, I'm not going to.
That could be a thing.
Or he could have. You know, maybe. Here's the theory to put out there. Jonah Hill, when he was younger, went on a blind date to a Lenny Kravitz concert, and he didn't get laid. And afterwards, was so depressed he gained all of that weight, and now he has like this sort of trauma thing going on about. Now that he's lost all that weight, he's like, I can't go back into Kravitz land. I just can't. I can't go back there. And it's triggered him. So he's been triggered by Zoe Kravitz. His therapist has told him you can't do the movie.
That's the one. You broke the code. There it is.
There you go. So you heard it here first. It's as good as WeGotThisCovered.com's coverage of anything. So or as I like to call them, WeDon'tGotThisCovered.com. Right. So be careful what you listen to out there. All right, that's gonna do it for this week. Kat, we'll see you. Jack has been hanging back quietly in the background, throwing up all the images.
I'm sure he's sipping on some beer. Where's the beer, Jack? Where is it? There it is.
On any given week, Kat and I try to come up with the most random references, so Jack has trouble finding images to put up on the screen.
Yeah, you guys are always testing me, man. I appreciate it. Thanks.
You did great. You did great tonight. You was on it.
Nailed it.
I'm so excited. They now allow us to add GIFs, so we will.
Oh, nice.
We will be adding GIFs from now on.
There we go. So that's right. There's the image to end on. That's pretty much Jonah Hill. Responding, this just in, Jonah Hill just responded to our accusations of the rumors. And you saw it here first. All right, so that's going to do it for the breakdown. We'll see you guys next time.
Like, share, subscribe, follow.
Down at the bottom. Come on, share it. Share it with your friends. If you like us, share it with your friends. If you hate us, share it with your enemies. We'll take them all. We'll see you guys.